He was the phenomenon of the 20s. When you think that at that time he was as well known as Lindbergh, it's really quite astonishing.
His story reflected the nature of our civilization, the character of our times, yet it was also one man's story, and all the themes of our culture were there: heroism, will, things like that. But when you look back on it, it was very strange.
Well, it is ironic to see how quickly he has faded from memory, considering what an astounding record he made. He was, of course, very amusing, but at the same time touched a nerve in people, perhaps in a way which they would prefer not to be touched. It certainly is a very bizarre story.
The year is 1928. America, enjoying a decade of unequaled prosperity, has gone wild. The Jazz Age, it is called. The rhythms are syncopated, the morals are looser, the liquor is cheaper when you can get it. It is a time of diverse heroes and madcap stunts, of speakeasies and flamboyant parties. One typical party occurs at the Long Island estate of Mr. and Mrs. Henry Porter Sutton, socialites, patrons of the arts. Politicians and poets rub elbows with the cream of high society. Present at the party is Scott Fitzgerald, who is to cast perspective on the 20s for all future generations. He writes in his notebook about a curious little man named Leon Selwyn, or Zellman, who seemed clearly to be an aristocrat and extolled the very rich as he chatted with socialites. He spoke adoringly of Coolidge and the Republican Party, all in an upper-class Boston accent. An hour later, writes Fitzgerald, I was stunned to see the same man speaking with the kitchen help. Now he claimed to be a Democrat, and his accent seemed to be coarse, as if he were one of the crowd. It is the first small notice taken of Leonard Zelig. Florida, 1 year later. An odd incident occurs at the New York Yankees training camp. Journalists, anxious as always to immortalize the exploits of the great home run hitters, notice a strange new player waiting his turn at bat after Babe Ruth. He is listed on the roster as Lou Zelig, but no one on the team has heard of him. Security guards are called, and he is escorted from the premises. It appears as a small item in the next day's newspaper. Chicago, Illinois, that same year. There is a private party at a speakeasy on the south side. People from the most respectable walks of life dance and drink bathtub gin. Present that evening was Calvin Turner, a waiter.
And a lot of customers, a lot of gangsters come into place because they're always good tippers and take good care of us. And of course, we try to take care of our customers. But on this particular night, I looked over and here's a strange guy coming in. I'd never seen him before. So I asked one of the other, I said, John, do you know this guy? You ever seen him? So he looks. I said, no, I ain't never seen him before, man. I don't know who he is, but I know one thing, he's a tough-looking hombre. So I looked over and then, next thing, the guy had disappeared. I don't know where he went to. But about this time, you know, the music gets started, and the band started playing. I looked, and here's a guy, a colored guy, and a colored boy over there playing trumpet. Man, he was playing back. Then I looked at the guy, and I said, well, my goodness, he looks just like that gangster, but the gangster was white, and this guy is black. So I don't know what's happening.
New York City. It is several months later. Police are investigating the disappearance of a clerk named Leonard Zelig. Both his landlady and his employer have reported him missing. They tell police he was an odd little man who kept to himself. Only 2 clues are found in Zelig's Greenwich Village flat. One, a photograph of Zelig with Eugene O'Neill, and one of him as Pagliacci. acting on a tip. They trace